Done a Postmortem before. I've never made a game before until now, so I apologize in advance. This is going to be very off the cuff. I'm going to try to kind of speed through these slides real quick, just kind of give you a glimpse of what we're doing, and then hopefully leave most of it up to Q&A, because I'm sure whatever questions you guys have to ask are better than whatever I have to provide with whatever put together. So me and another guy, Joseph Borghetti, we met on a forum about 5 years ago, and he hit me up and he was like, hey, I was thinking about working on a game, I've seen your art, whatever, and I'd just been doing freelance illustration. And he was like, would you like to work on a game together? And so eventually we got together and started our first project, our only project. @RiskyLab is our Twitter handle. You can email us any other questions. I think we're going to put together a more complete postmortem and put it on a blog post, so it'll be a little more in depth. So for some reason my name's not here. It was here, but that's where I am, obviously. Joe is over there. He lives near Boston. We have been working on this game for a long time, and we have never met. We're on video calls and stuff all the time, but as far as it goes, I've never, I really need to go meet him. Okay, so just to fire this off, two guys that have never made a game and never met probably shouldn't make a game like Warbits. It was a stupid idea. Not saying that it didn't work out for us. It did, sort of. But the fact is, I would suggest everyone, if you're going to do something like we did, to make it a very, spend 6 weeks on a project, make it very polished, and launch it, fail, and then go on to something else. I wish we had failed 4 projects before we did this, because it's just so stressful. So Warbits is a turn-based strategy. It's got a 20-mission story-driven campaign, online and local multiplayer. It's built in Objective-C, Cocoa 2D, which kind of shows its age. Nobody uses that. Universal iOS, so just iPad, iPhones, and then we released it 3 weeks ago on April 14th. A little note: we originally had planned on just doing a online only experience, so which later we thought that's dumb. We'd need to add single player content for people to chew on. So that was tacked on probably 2 years into development. So speaking of 2 years into development, that was halfway. We started in 2012. I think 2 years of that was learning how to make a game in the first place. It started off very messy. We were just figuring out how to get our pipeline going. It was a huge challenge, but once we hit a point where everything got very streamlined, and so we're extremely good at working with each other now, even though we're in we're 2,000 miles apart. But we're at a point where we can just work very quickly. This is what Warbits looked like in 2012. It's kind of interesting because the trees didn't change much, and the grass is exactly the same. But other than that, I've redone every asset there is 3 or 4 times. This is what Warbits looks like now. It's based on Advance Wars, if you guys are familiar with that. That's a Nintendo staple for Game Boy games. We just wanted to bring the love and care that it deserved to a modern platform, since they won't seem to do it for us. And then it's been 4 years on it, and we're they're going to drop it at any moment. We got to do this. So that was fun, and also very stressful. About 45,000 lines of code. I'm the art side, so I do not know what that means. I just say that would be a sizable mobile project, but it's no Call of Duty or something. But,
somewhere in between.
So it just gives you maybe you guys understand what that is. 4,125 individual art assets. I do know what that means. This is what it looks like. That's every single art asset, all just placed in a square, all the sprite sheets and everything.
Oh, okay, it's all the sprite sheets.
I was like, how am I gonna? Yep, just put it all right there. And like that's not including, you know, different resolution files and everything. Those are each individually drawn in some way. I did everything using Adobe Illustrator and some Photoshop. So these are the commits over 4 years to our Bitbucket. I don't mess with this a whole lot, but this is mostly a graph of our productivity, just to show that, you know, we spent 4 years on it, and we actually spent 4 years on it. We both have full-time jobs, but we come home and work on Warbits. We never flatlined for, you know, 3 months or anything like that. Productivity rose and fell, you know. Joe had a kid, I bought a house. Joe had another kid, you know, like I had a kid. Like, there's a lot that happened in 4 years. So the tools we used mostly, other than, you know, like Adobe Illustrator and stuff like that, Google Hangouts was integral. We are texting each other constantly. I probably talk to him more than I talk to my wife. I'm sure he talks to me more than he talks to his wife. Dropbox, there's probably a better solution for you guys, but we lean on it. It works very well. We used Apple's TestFlight for our beta program. It has really grown in the last few years, so it's actually useful now. Slack, which we used, we set up a Slack channel for our beta testers, so anybody that was invited to the beta just got an email to be invited to the Slack. Not everyone joined, but the people that did join and like stuck with it were so helpful. Like amazing people. We got so many like just connections through that. You know, as people that are actually in the industry and know what they're doing, and we don't. And so they'd reach out to us, and they really mentored us through a lot of our development. And then Trello, which is like an organization platform, is I feel like it's built for probably smaller projects than what we did, but it's very good at moving around things very quickly. So if you don't need like this huge, you know, bulleted list of all this crazy stuff, like Trello is a very good whiteboard to kind of lay out what you need to do visually, like at that moment. So we used that. So that's how much we spent over the 4 years of development. I feel like it's pretty lean. We kept our full-time jobs, so we were able to spend money on these things right here. So most of it was for freelancers, sound and music, a lot of help with the announcement trailers, lots of 3D effects that I had never messed with before. So you know, that was a lot of helpful. That was very helpful. Level design was awesome. We had a beta tester that just started making levels for us. We didn't even ask him, and then we're like, hey, let's pay this guy to make some more levels for us, and he's very good at it. We ran into a few snags, so as you can see, our back-end programming unused. That really hurt. That's like, is that more than 50% of our? Yeah, like it was just we had a falling out. Like he just kind of ditched us, you know. So it was just a whole thing we couldn't use. Map editor, not such a big deal, but that would have been cool. But that fell through. Apple developer license, that's just $99 you got to do every year, and Dropbox Pro, which is worth every penny, to us at least. So the launch, we did a worldwide release. We launched at April 13th. We had announced that we would do the 14th, but we got impatient, and we heard that there is a propagation, so before you actually find it in the App Store, it has to propagate for a while, and we thought it was like maybe a couple hours or something like that. Ours ended up being about 6 hours. I'm not sure if that's normal or not, but it was super stressful because Apple refreshes their front store page, so anything that's being featured happens sometime on Thursday, and so we're like, are we gonna make it or not? So that was a huge, like, just a question that was hovering over our head the whole time. Launched at $2.99, which I think is a great price for a premium game that it's an impulse buy. So that was our reasoning there. And 99 cents is very, you're going to get a lot of people, but you're going to get a lot of bad people as well. You know, like people that may not actually be interested in your game at all will download it and then leave you a bad review just because it was 99 cents or whatever. And then 2 weeks later, we jumped up to $3.99. So, the launch was super interesting because we started hearing these rumors that something was happening that Thursday that was making us very nervous. There was a lot of people that were told to move their launch out. So we're like, what? We didn't hear about this. Like, why aren't, you know? And so when the App Store was refreshed sometime on Thursday, this is what you saw. So they were doing their apps for Earth. So Kim Kardashian was on there and all sorts of stuff. But so the front page when you first launched was all of their apps for Earth. And then when you scroll down, we ended up getting Best New Games and an Editor's Choice banner. So that was awesome. So like, I was like sitting in bed, like kind of like crying, and then I got there and I was like, okay. And I was like, that's good, that's good. We had a few introductions with Apple editors for the App Store. They never responded to us. It was like, hey guys, this is Joe and Reilly. They've been working on this great game for a while. Take it away, Joe and Reilly. And we're like, hey man, look at this. And then nothing, you know? And so leading up to this, we had no idea that we would even be featured. The only thing we got was a notification in iTunes Connect that said, hey, upload some promo art. Please note that this promo art is not guaranteed to be used, or whatever, you know, like, I was like, well, it seems like everyone gets this, or something, you know. But we were extremely fortunate to be featured, and we definitely would not have had the launch without this. And it seemed to work out because they told, you know, there was a lot of big apps that launched a couple weeks after this, and those were the guys that were told to move out. And so we had to compete with a much smaller group, and so we ended up having a very polished game that was, you know, a $2.99 all in. There's no IAPs or anything like that. It's just a good game to chew on, and so I think someone at Apple took notice of that and put us up on the feature. So this is what we ended up getting, which was awesome. Like, I don't even know what to say. We were ecstatic to see that these reviews were so positive. That people loved it. To go back for a second, we actually ended up, because of that Apps for Earth Day, when that all went away, they actually put us back at the top, like where we should have shifted down, and like kind of sales would have started trending down from there. They actually put us back at the Best New Games and gave us our feature again, like where we would normally be at the top. And so sales once again spiked. It didn't quite reach what we did at launch, but it got close. So that was cool. And then obviously, I think reviews drove a lot of sales, because if you look at our conversion rate for App Store reviews and sales, I think it's for every like 115 people, like somebody buys the game. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what that actually means. I mean, it's only $4, it's only $3, whatever, whenever they bought it. But that seems like a pretty good conversion to me. And with the good reviews, you also get the bad reviews. So we actually we put our trailer up, and like immediately this was like our first or second comment. I was just destroyed. And then later I thought it was funny, so I actually put it in our App Store description as a, like, you know, a full quote. And we actually got a few sales out of that because I saw some forums talking about that. Yeah, they actually put this in the description. That's hilarious, bot. And I was like, God. So if I made like $15 off of that, I'm pretty happy. And then you just get people that just don't like it. You just gotta put on your don't care hat and go on with your life.
They told you that you had bad grammar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We also got a few like uses profanity, and I'm like, I don't think we do. We do say ovaries at once, talking about flowers. So I don't know. So this is how sales went. We have, as of like a few days ago, 48,000 people have downloaded this app. Blew us away for our first game. We don't know what to say. It was just awesome. So we can't quit our jobs or anything like that. We have families to support. That would be great if we could. But this will help us pay off our houses and all that stuff. So I think this converts to about $100,000, a little bit more than that in proceeds. So and then Joe and I split everything 50-50. So as you can see, we got the Apps for Earth promo ended, and then we got another huge spike. If it weren't for that 2-week feature, we'd probably have maybe 2/3 of that ish. So it converts to a lot of people actually play this game. 423,000 missions have been played, and then 126,000 online turns have been taken. We found that about 10% of the people that download the game will sign up for online and play a match or whatever. We expected that, which is why we added a campaign. People like to be able to play something on the train, without an internet connection. So we're really glad we added that in. So ready to do some Q&A. What's up?
You gonna keep making games?
Yes, definitely. We're gonna work on a small project.
Yeah.
Not take
do some jam games.
Right. Yeah.
If only we had jams coming up.
If only.
More iOS stuff.
We're so comfortable with it, so we might. We would like to do. We would also like to dive into Unity and stuff, so that we could have the possibility to branch out. Either way, we're gonna have to learn a different engine. So that's just gonna happen. We'll see where it goes.
So I'll ask the inevitable question is: have you looked into porting it? Like, it sounded like it might need a total rewrite.
Yes. So that's where we are with that. I think we get an email or a tweet or some sort of communication that says, "Are you bringing this to Android?" Like once an hour, I think. Like it just happens. You could set your clock by it, but it's it depends. Like how does anyone answer that? I'd love to, but yes, we'd have to rewrite the whole thing and pretty much start over. What's up?
So I have 2 questions actually. First one, are you cool to make 3D models of your robots? They look really fun to model.
I've had a friend do some 3D modeling, and then obviously since we're going to try out Unity and stuff, I'm going to start dabbling into that. So yeah, we'll be jumping into that pretty soon.
No, I meant is it cool if I do that?
Oh yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Second question. So understanding that it would take a very extensive rewrite to port it over to Android. Why, I guess, because other apps report, and I don't know what that process is like, so it might just be ignorance. But why didn't you choose to write it, I guess, in a way that was more friendly for porting?
So there's a lot of things we would have done if we had made a game before. It's just simple as that. We would have localized. We're not set up for localization at all. I would love for people in China are still downloading it and still playing it. They don't know what it says, but they're good at the game. Germany is, Russia. I would love to support those, but the way we made the game is just, it'd be so much work. So we'd have to really put in a lot of time, and we're kind of done with it for now. We'll do some content updates and stuff like that, but we kind of to set it down for a little bit.
I mean, have you thought about paying another company to do the porting for you?
We need to research that.
Okay.
We haven't. Yeah, thought about it. Haven't researched it. Yes.
So, what was your marketing strategy like during and after launch?
We didn't have one. No. Yeah, mostly Twitter is what we focused on, and even that was marginal results. And then like John, we sent out tons of emails to press. If you're making a mobile-only game, just be prepared to be ignored by every major gaming. I think we got an IGN Italy article. Like that's cool. I like those guys in Italy, but I really would have liked the regular IGNs to do it too. So it's just a thing you got to deal with. Unless you got like a real viral sensation or something like that, you'll probably be ignored. But like I said, just social media mostly. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how much success you had with places you posted? Like I know you guys had a TIG source post that you kept up with for a bit, and like how did that stuff work?
So I think I like TIGs. We kept a devlog, but it was our like secondary devlog. We had the forum that Joe and I met on. It's a private forum. We have a devlog there that's like spans forever. And it actually, you could go through it and chronologue all the work we've done. TIGS was like kind of more of a curated one. As far as a marketing standpoint, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, there's a few like amazing pixel art games that'll like just get a lot of attention just because they're cool pixel art. But as far as just like putting your game up there, I mean, if that's where you want to, keep a record of it, that's awesome. To be able to look back at it, that's very, very helpful. But as a marketing standpoint, I wouldn't recommend it. What I would touch arcade forums. If somebody makes a thread for you, like I never liked making a thread for ourselves. I like it to happen organically. But jumping in there, giving away promo keys, answering questions, they love that, and you'll see that in the reviews. We're very quick with support emails, and we'll get people will change their reviews to like a 5-star review because we fixed their bug, and they're having a great time now. So that's always awesome. Yes, sir.
So in one of the last meetups you presented, you said you've got like 500 beta testers on Reddit and Touch Arcade.
Yes.
How did you get those?
All we did was we made a little Google form, so a little free to make form. Just had a first, last name, and your iTunes email, and we just made that forum, posted it publicly. We made a bunch of them for each specific. So like this one went to Reddit, this one went to Touch Arcade, this one went to Twitter, and we tracked those. And people just signed up, and we just invited people in waves. So like we'd go and invite 100 people at a time. Let them play for a little bit, fix whatever needed to be fixed, invite 100 more. So.
How did you get them though to sign up? It was
just posted it up there, and people will spread that around. It just happened. Yeah, we didn't push it a lot or anything like that. Touch Arcade, actually, when we announced our launch date, I think, or maybe we just talked about the beta. Either way, they had made an article that linked to the thread that had a link to the forum, and we got a ton of signups through that. So like that, and that was a very involved process. So we got a lot of good beta testers out of that because they were actually like, I want to do this, like they went through a lot of steps in order to sign up. So that was really cool. Yes.
So I'm totally unfamiliar with what the market process is like for like iOS games and stuff like that. So what is the market cycle like, or what are you expecting? Because I know like with PC games and like that, there's usually a really long tail. Is that the case with iOS games?
Probably not. We've only been out for 3 weeks. Sales spiked at about. I can go back to So,
They don't take it.
okay.
I like to sleep.
Gotcha. Yeah. So at our most, it was like 5.2 thousand units a day. And then like where we're at now, we're hovering around 200 sales a day, but we're also featured in a few spots in the App Store. So like being featured, getting that editor's choice is huge because they'll pull you for other little, groups of games and stuff. So if you can just stay featured in the App Store, just in random places, I think we'll hover around there. But like right now, I think we have a big banner on, like if you go to the strategy section, like we're there right now, which not a lot of people will go that far into it, but it's enough to keep the sales flowing. Once that goes away, you know, we'll probably dip into hundreds and, you know, maybe 50s a day, stuff like that. So, yeah.
So I hear you got emailed by a plumber.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Earlier this morning, we got an email from Nintendo, and it's from a guy in developer relations asking. At first, I was like, "Well, they're suing us" or something. But no, he asked what our possibilities are of bringing Warbits to a Nintendo console, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe that, you know, cross-platform thing, we'll talk about that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that like my heart was like, oh, that was pretty nice. Yeah,
It's just a trick.
That'd be awesome. So having made a decent chunk off of sales now, right? Are you looking at then taking that and putting that into some kind of paid marketing system or scheme or something?
For a game like this, I really don't think any kind of like ad placement or anything like that. Like you'd have to spend so much money in order to get your money back out of it, and we're not a free-to-play game. I don't think it's worth it for apps in our situation. I think mostly we get our sales from word of mouth and people browsing like through search optimization just on the App Store. But from what I understand and what we've researched, ads really don't do a whole lot for you if you're a mobile game. Yeah. So no. Anybody else?
Yeah. What was, you may have said this before, but your lead time between emailing contacts at Apple and then actually releasing it to the store?
So let's see. We set this up. We probably emailed them when we decided on a launch date, before we had announced it. So it was probably like 3.5 months in advance.
Okay.
So we had the introduction, told them all the stuff, you know, sent them our press kit, email. Like we like to keep all of our emails a very like too long didn't read, you know, kind of up at the top, and then like after that it's like okay, you know, all the other junk. But so we did that, and then about 2 weeks before our launch, we followed up with another email. Just like it's like praying. You just send out another email, and like hopefully somebody read it. We don't know who or whatever, and it ended up working out. But
okay.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. You know. One thing John mentioned is when you make these contacts, it's very important. Like we did have a lot of success for emailing people that we had already emailed before, and if they responded to you, like I actually responded to an email that was 2 years old. You know, they're like, "Great, let us know when it's out," and I was like, "It's out," you know, like 2 years later, and then he like got a response and like started writing up an article and stuff, and I was like, but yeah, it was really funny. So I mean, like they're more likely to pay attention to a threaded email. They're like, "Oh, I've already, you know, started this conversation." Little did he know it was 2 years. You know?
Yeah.
So. Yes.
When you said you did your introduction stuff, was that through somebody, or were you like kind of cold emailing Apple to try and get this stuff out? Because you mentioned like, you know, you kind of offhandedly like, "Oh, here's such and such, you guys take it away," sort of thing.
Yeah, so that was like we had met some people that gave us introductions. They had introduced us to actual Apple employees, and so that's how that went. It was just a handoff pretty much. So you're about out of time, or
You got more, you can take them.
yeah.
What's one thing you would have done differently?
Everything. Yeah. If I could cut off the 2 years of learning what we were doing, you know, like things would have just flown. It would have been great. We wouldn't have done it in Cocos 2D. You know, we would have done it. We've localized. What else? Our back end is Parse. I don't know if that's funny to anybody, but yeah, Parse is shutting down. So we have to figure out what we're going to do from there. It's just a lot of the growing pains is what it was. It was all learning. So, but I mean, we can attribute the success, you know, to just make an extremely polished game. We just worked on it for so long. If it had failed, man, it would have been pretty bad. So, which is why I don't suggest anybody do what we did.
It looks way too good to fail.
Yeah, that's what you always think, and then you're like, because I'd be sitting up at night and I'm like, this is gonna bomb so hard, you know, like it's just a thing you go through. Alec? Oh.
Well, I was just going to comment when you said you wouldn't use Cocos 2D. I mean, looking back, do you think Cocos 2D was a bad choice at the time? I mean,
No, not at the time.
Like
No,
choice.
it's just we spent 2 years, and Cocos 2D kind of moved off to the side. Unity came in, but Unity 2D wasn't there yet. You know, it's just it's hard to plan for the future, especially when you've never made a game before. But you know, if you're more experienced, then obviously you know what you're going to try to handle.
Probably still would have chosen Cocos.
Yeah, probably. But we also may have finished it in 2 years. You know, so.
Yeah.
So. Is that it? Oh. Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna expand your team, or is it you're still gonna try and just run into a two-man job with the freelancers on the side?
I think doing
Yes, we're retiring.
doing a two-man team, we work very well together. We have a very similar work ethic. So bringing anyone else on the team, I think, would be kind of hard. And then once you have your people, like your freelancers, like the freelancers that we ended up with, amazing. You know, you can hand them stuff, they get it done. It's just fantastic. So like once you have somebody that's doing key art or whatever, music, like you use them. Yeah.
So you said you had you and your partner were both doing full-time jobs while you were developing this.
Yep.
What was that work-life balance like?
It was like work, like balance. Yeah. Very little interaction with our families, which was unfortunate. We'd come home and like get in our caves, and usually we'd like pop on and like be on a voice call, and we could hear each other breathing while I'm like clicking around and stuff. So
was it like a structured like 5 hours a night kind of thing?
No. We'd like play for a little bit, play a game of Dota, like then work some more, maybe go watch a show with our wives, and then go back to the cave. Yeah.
Relatable.
Yeah. Good. All right,
Thanks,
guys. Thanks.